little speech that you do every week, Southers, you say that this board is committed to accessibility for the community, and yet here we are still having these meetings at 9:30 a.m. on a Tuesday, right. And you guys couldn't even manage to have your stupid community meetings in the third or fourth quarter of this year. Get it together. So there have been several donations in the past few weeks for various youth programs, and like many of the other speakers today, it honestly can't be said often enough that LAPD has no business running youth mentoring programs. It's objectively a moral cesspit. It's corrupt from the top down. The elected head of your rank and file runs a security company which hires cops fired from the LAPD, which is very scary, very hard to get fired from the LAPD. Some of them fired for violent offenses, hires them to be security guards at Walgreens, and then scams them out of their wages. The head of this accountability body is on the payroll of a genocidal foreign army. He legally used government databases to spy on his ex-wife. He started an organization which would employ a police officer who molested over 200 kids and never said anything about it, never distanced himself from it.
In a video captured by Film the Police LA, an activist went ham on the Los Angeles Police Department for their shortcomings. Here's more.
And the stuff that I have heard in the last 2 years of attending these meetings is like, the fact that you think that you can run programs for kids is truly disgusting. And just off the top of my head, what I can remember, a new recruit arrested for child molestation, a supervisor their subordinate on the job, and I think it was the wife of another officer. Yep. An officer who sexually abused a mentally ill woman and forced her to have sex with an animal. I mean,
Gabriel Spada.
You blew up a truck full of fireworks and killed people and blew up their houses. You beat the shit out of protesters. You kill people in high-speed chases. You shoot them in the worst moments of their lives when they come to you for help. And you have the nerve to run youth mentoring programs? It's literally mind-blowing.
Yes, it is mind-blowing. And while some may hate activists speaking out like this, personally, I am all for it. 10 out of 10, every day, twice on Sunday.
I want to talk with my time remaining about something that happened on Wednesday. There was a sweep at an encampment in CD11. There is a woman there that I'm friends with who lives in an RV. She obviously is coping with a lot, and she was talked into voluntarily giving up her car to be towed by an LAPD officer. She didn't understand what was happening to her, and she wasn't allowed to get any of her out of her car, so she had no clothes, she had no underwear, she had no food. And you know what the dumbest thing is? When I call that tow company, they'll let us come down and get her out of the car, but that LAPD officer couldn't give her 5 minutes to get her stuff out of the car before they took it away, and also tricked her into signing something, into voluntarily giving up her vehicle, which she did not realize she was signing. Oh, you guys.
Incredible. Let's break it down now. But before we get into it, I have a new show that's coming out, and I would love for you to go subscribe to it. It is an interview-based show. I'm going to be talking to really interesting people across different industries, so please go sub. When I see this clip, I think of many things. The first is how statistics have shown the police do not keep us safer, period. Point blank, period. When they get called for a mental health crisis, a lot of times they will take matters into their own hands physically by brute force and or by unaliving a person who just needs help. And there was one clip a few years ago that I played of I think a Dallas police commissioner who admitted that the cops are called for too many things that they are not experts on. And yes, that is true. Will you reject taxpayer money so we could fund those services that will be of a great benefit to the people? Probably not. You want more gadgets. You want more tanks. You want more squad cars. You want more technology to benefit you. So I personally don't buy it. I think it's a nice little moment, though. I have seen, I believe it was on the streets of New York a few years ago, how the police in the state set up a like NYPD trailer that, in my view, lured kids in with probably at the time PS4s, if not PS5. And if you are looking at this objectively, you are thinking, how terrible. They're essentially preying on kids to say, see, the cops are cool, man. We play video games. We could bond over that. It is a way for them to manufacture consent and also train the youth to believe that what they say goes and they are your best friends. They are not. They are public servants who, via a Supreme Court case, legally does not have to protect you. All of those sayings on squad cars, protect and serve, it's a myth. It doesn't actually matter. Now, with these youth programs, it does the same exact thing. It is a way for police to have an everlasting effect on the youth, to tame themselves when they are talking to police, to obey when they are talking to police and possibly under their supervision. It does not create inner dialogue to reflect on, is this okay? In my view, it's a way to groom the youth, but that's something that they won't want to talk about. We don't talk about how many times over an officer will be fired, and we even saw this in the Breonna Taylor case, where Brett Hankinson could not get a job in other parts of, I believe, his own state in policing because of the misconduct, and yet he found a job with the LAPD. This is a common practice. It's sort of like what happens in the church. Oh, if something happens with you, let's just move you to a different one. That is the reality of what's going on, and I'm sorry if this is offending you, and I'm sorry if you truly don't believe it. It's all there, right out in front of you. Police should not be leading youth mentoring programs. They should not be under the supervision of police at these camps or what have you. Actually, it should be about community. It should be about building trust with one another. Because if they don't have our backs, we should. I feel like it's very simple, honestly. I feel like it's very simple. That when there is an emergency, we should be able to call one another. Because from what we have seen and the horrors and tales that we have heard and have been reported, those guys with the badge and a lethal weapon should not have the first crack at quote unquote solving the case and aiding society. An entire profession that was born out of slavery and has deep roots to oppression and white supremacy should not be it for us. We are evolving as a society. This is not a popular position I'm taking. I'm sure there are some on the network who disagree, and that's fine. But it is the truth. And it is quite truly how I feel. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.